Okay, we are broadcasting your life. So,
Great.
hello. This week's create a new user-facing team uh, meeting, which is at the new time with a small group today. So let's. I think the most important thing to discuss is the comment by Angie that she left, and then the replies by David and Kevin. So it seems like that. So what I heard from Roy, he said on the new team chat that he had around 5 minutes to sell this idea for the management, which obviously made it difficult for him to try to sell the whole idea and explain everything that has been taught so far. But he said that the impression at this point was like, at least not that they are like against this whole idea or anything like that, but more of that there's some specific concerns about this happening. So what Angie wrote on the issue is, so does this get in the way of other work that's maybe more strategic? For example, will we end up slowing down the media or layouts initiative, which we have firm survey data backing up the need for in favor of this? And then the another question that she asked was, there seem to be lots of dependencies, farmers market documentation, default content, new design. It feels like this might be too big of a bite, and it might be better to chunk it to pace 1, 2, 3, 4, and only target some of the infrastructure bits for 8.3 rather than the initiative as well.
Okay.
Did you get dropped? You're now 2 times.
Yeah, no, I had some troubles with the connection.
But I
Now
just
I'm
read,
here again.
I just read your comment, so that's all.
Perfect.
So about the first comment, which is, I think the first one is more simple one
Yeah.
to reply, because of does this get in the way of whatever that's maybe more strategic? So
Yeah, but I think we are not overlapping because there's not the same people there, here and there.
So I guess Roy, or probably Roy, is the best person to answer that, because he's the person who is mostly collaborating between these multiple initiatives, and I guess that's many of the other. And for me, it seems like even that this initiative, compared to any of the other proposed initiatives, is one of the initiatives that actually could like grow the amount of people participating the initiative works, or we could get more people working in the initiatives, because this is like totally different developer audience that we are kind of targeting.
Yeah, completely agree.
Yeah. So
I think that's...
this is very, very design focused, and then besides that, it's very, very like front-end development focused. There is not that many back-end things that are going to be needed.
Yeah, that's right. So there shouldn't be any problem here.
So it should be all fine. And we haven't even like discussed anything, but so just I think this is truly about the first.
It is what, sorry?
I'm just wondering if there could be anything that is like, just wondering if there's something else if you're missing out of this, like if he's wondering that if this generates more work for the media or the layouts initiative, that could be the another side of this question.
No, I don't think that goes in that way. I think it's more about, well, at least what I understand from it, it's more about people and resources, people, the amount of people that can be working with one thing or the other one.
Yeah, but so she's simply just talking about slowing down. And
Yeah.
slowing down is by two things. One is the people. How many people do you have working on something? And the
Yeah.
second thing that affects is the amount of work you have that needs to be done. But I don't think it affects either of these things.
No, because especially if we are not doing anything on the admin.
Yeah. I mean, layouts is obviously also works on the front end.
Yeah.
But I still don't think that we generate any more work by doing this.
No, at all.
Yeah.
I don't think so.
Yeah.
I think the only thing that will be a problem that it is not, I think, but anyway, it might be the need of approval from the usability team, but well, for revisions, for layouts, for testing, but I don't think that's going to be any problem. The only thing is, so yeah.
So let's go to the second question, because we both agree that the first one is not really that much relevant for this initiative. I understand this concern, but I don't think it's very relevant for this initiative, or it shouldn't be something that we should be concerned about at this point.
Yeah, not at this point. Maybe in the future, but not now.
Yeah. At least now with this scope that we have.
Exactly that.
So then the second step is there seem to be lots of dependencies. Yeah, it's quite a big chunk of things that has been planned that you want to work on. So there's the farmers market documentation, default content, new design. So about this, I would just want to say that the farmers market documentation has been pretty much written already. So that
exactly,
and it's totally different, completely different set of people working on that. And even though that wouldn't get ever done, we could still make this team happen. There is no hard dependency between two of these things. Other one helps this one to happen faster. But this thing could happen absolutely without any of that work ever, even if any of that work never happened.
Exactly.
Yeah. And then the second one is default content, and I think that's exactly the same. Like
exactly. Yeah.
Like we can make this happen without any default content, but it's pretty difficult because you can make a beautiful design without content.
Yeah. Do you know what's the state right now for that?
With the default content, actually, the default content is proceeding really, really well. Like they've made some very, very good progress over there.
Are you in the team?
Yes, I'm in the team. I'm following what's up there. So Kevin has been giving, I don't know if you saw, but Kevin gave me a nice update. This probably earlier this week or late last week. Oh, it was actually 1 week ago, last Thursday. I had a chat with him at the time of this meeting.
Okay.
And he explained like what's happening over there, and like he explained that they pretty much have like the Condor model built on Drupal already. So and they have already written a big part of the content, not everything, but a big part of that. And they already have like built kind of like an idea of what it could look like, or what is the feeling, or like what kind of client would that be.
Okay, you are talking about the conversation happening on the new core theme channel, where he shared the PDF with the Drupal farmers.
Yeah.
Okay. No, I know a little bit.
Yeah. So that's what they've done, and it looks very, very good.
There's a lot of information there.
Yeah, like it's good progress of them.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, maybe for design there are some rules or some, not decisions, but some, I don't know how to say, some ideas that
Yeah.
maybe the designer that is going to design this new theme can follow or not. But all the other stuff is, I think it's great.
Yeah, I think the design is just nice because it's like nice way to demonstrate at that point what is the idea. It doesn't mean that we have to build anything like that, but it's
Exactly.
nice that we at least have some kind of vision that what it could be like.
Yeah. And directions.
Yeah, like it gives more of an idea, like what are we trying to build. But
Yeah.
I think it's all about like we can build whatever we decide to do at that point. Yeah. So for me, I would just I probably will write about that there is no really that much hard dependencies between all of these different things, that even if like one like fails totally, that one of these things doesn't happen at all, that all the other bits could still proceed without the other things happening. So that it's more of like parallel work by different people that has different interests than of like defining hard dependencies between other things.
Yeah. But also I will add that there's people involved, maybe not actively on all of them, but there's people involved in all of them that actually knows what's the state of the other initiatives or groups or wherever it is scaled. So we already know if something that from our initiative is going to be needed in another one.
Yeah.
Because there's people on both of them. So I think that's another good point.
Yeah. So we have like shared the people, like we have communicated very well across these different initiatives.
Yeah.
So we have level of knowledge about what's each of these groups doing.
Exactly. Yeah.
I agree. So that's something that we should also highlight.
Yeah.
So now I'm moving to David's response for this this comment. So he replies for the first point, which is about the concern if this comes on the way of the other work. Do you mean that people will have their attention taken away from the other initiatives? I don't think there is much overlap in people, or is probably the main overlap.
Probably and Bojan,
Yeah, but this is practically the same point that we made. And the second one is there seems to be lots of dependencies. The only blocker I'm aware of is the experimental installation profile, which we can proceed without, but probably wouldn't release without. Farmers market was brought up as an example use case to make the point that this wouldn't try to serve every use case. What dependency would be there? Default content is something we'd like to use, but shouldn't be popular. There has been discussion between the two teams to work together as each initiative progresses. So phase 1, 2, etc. are all about building a team, creating a design, and beginning implementing. Since this has been split from the components initiative, it should just be this disparate team with no immediate need for infrastructure changes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree with that because.
Yeah, I think he's saying pretty much the same thing as we were discussing earlier. Yeah. There's actually the interesting point that and only target some of the infrastructure bits. I guess that's the misunderstanding of that, because I think she's thinking, probably because Freud didn't have enough time to explain this, but probably she thought that those has to happen in that order, so that there's first the farmers market documentation, then there is the default content, and then there is the new design on top of that. But because of the fact that all of these three things could happen in parallel, and even if one doesn't get ready, the two of the other things could get ready.
Yeah.
So that's what we have to highlight. This one, definitely.
Yeah, I agree.
I'm going to move
Okay.
to Kevin's comment. Let's see what is there. A lot of work and consensus building has been done here by Lauri. I don't at all to really approach this as a minimum viable product, including agreeing to not make this framework team and only focus on teaming the content of the farmers market example, agreeing not to attempt to solve the problem of team component library, setting aside any potential bike sheds around this being the face of the Drupal brand by making it part of an additional experimental profile, not a replacement of standard. Additionally, create. Oh, I'm gonna think about this first.
Okay.
Yeah. So the first one is
Yeah.
So he's explaining what is the minimum viable product about.
Yeah. Yeah. He's explaining some other things that have been already discussed
covered.
on the meetings. Yeah, and
Yeah.
covered on above comments.
Yeah, but I think these are good points for the first question, I think, which is about will this come on the way of the other initiatives?
Yeah.
Because like here, he's pretty much pointing out that actually this kind of replies for both of the questions. So the first one is agreeing to make this not this a framework, agreeing to not make this a framework theme, which means that this is very, very design focused initiative.
Yeah.
So we won't need like people that will be working on the other initiatives helping us to build this framework.
Exactly.
Yes, and then the second one is that we won't try to solve the team component library on this one, which also points out to the first one, I think. Like we are not taking resources away from the other initiatives.
Exactly.
Because this is design focused. Then the third one is setting aside any potential bytections around this being the face of the Drupal brand. This is about the second question, I think. So he's explaining that what is the reason why we do this on the experimental profile instead of doing on the standard.
Yeah.
And then additionally, creation of the content is not part of this and it's being worked on by a different team in parallel. Yes, that's
parallel. Yeah,
that's correct. The farmers market model is already pre-documented because we chose to borrow that from the user guide. Yeah, so that's like, I think it's a very, very good point that like, if we wouldn't have that documentation at like our default content initially, we wouldn't ever got into that point of documentation with the content model that is on now. So like,
right.
Have you seen the documentation for that? It's pretty impressive, like very, very long documentation. Not the PDF. There's even like a very, very long documentation somewhere.
Haven't seen it. Do you have any link? Maybe later if you want.
Probably have. Yeah, I can check that later. But I have a link somewhere.
Okay.
And it's pretty impressive because it's...
Sounds great.
Yeah, it is pretty impressive. Now I started looking for that, but I couldn't find it for now. So I will link that for you later at some point so you can see it also.
Okay.
But Kevin would have it, obviously.
Yeah, we can ask on the channel, on the Slack.
So the third point is about the example content team has already made significant progress towards getting the content ready, including arriving at a complete model and schema, down to the level of sketching out voice and tone examples for several aspects of the brand captured in a multi-page PDF. Yeah?
Yeah, that's a PDF, okay.
Yeah. And we will potential scope and generating sample content or creating a browser has been explicitly removed, so we can focus on the single content and realistic example installation.
Okay.
Yeah, so these are all about the second point, the second concern that like trying to convince it's a good idea to work on these things. Then the last section, having said all that, there may still be ways to further reduce scope to make certain we can get this in 8.3. A few possibilities could be, this is the definitely the most interesting part of this comment. So the first suggestion is make a sub-team of Bartik. Bartik is pretty well componentized already, not to mention responsive and accessible, and a sub-team could be quite easily be created that looks quite different from base Bartik. Yeah, that's nice technical approach for how it could be done. But so I'm gonna simply just comment for this that let's discuss the technical bit a little bit later. And for me, it's like I'm like not concerned at all whether we can implement team or not. Because
exactly.
like, I think we have we have huge amount of people who are willing to contribute to something like this because there is not really that much of other work that they could do.
Yeah, and also we are stacking in Bartik. If we do that, I mean, we are making Bartik necessary in the future if we do that, and I'm not sure if that's a good idea.
Yeah, but I'm probably gonna at this point only say that like let's discuss the technical bits a little bit later, because otherwise that's gonna like spin off like another loop of this technical discussion.
Agree. That's not right. We don't want that.
Yeah, so we would like to get the issue RKBC before the Thursday's meeting. Yeah, and then the second one, this one was definitely the most interesting part, was rather than pursuing designers from outside the community and undertaking a lengthy review process, work with experienced designers from within the community who have already expressed interest in working on this other KJ. So about this, I would just like to say this is the way we would like to do this. Like we would like to have the people inside the community to propose, and like it doesn't necessarily have to be outside. And if KJ if he can propose on this one, or if he's willing, like we definitely could like. I don't see any reason why we couldn't use him as a designer. And he's saying that it's lengthy. I think we had reserved like a couple of weeks for that. So I think in overall that is not all that lengthy. So there is 2 weeks period for getting the motivation and portfolio, and that's like I think after that things happen pretty quickly.
Yeah, we will have to
I think there is less risk of doing it like this than the other way, because we would anyway like to get the product management involved at this point, and then we will already at that point have like multiple people that we can review, and like if we choose one and the product management is like that, at that point we would already have like other people that we could contact and introduce for the product management. So I see there less risk on the way.
Yeah, but I agree with that. But I think we should also do some kind of public communication or public call for designers. I mean,
that's what we exactly want to do. Like we want to like we create an issue on Drupal, or we tell that this is the email that we want to just send, or you can comment if you'd like to, and then we just tweet and like we try to make Drupal Association and everyone promote it, so that we get as many people signing as possible. But it's definitely allowed to take part on that.
No. And at some point we should decide what will be the points that will be more important to take to let the designer another.
Yeah, I would like to start the discussion, but right now it's still like, because it's very vague, if this whole idea of like how this will be done will be approved, because this is like quite a big change for the way things are being done. Because of like we are not used to committing things early, we are not used to making this kind of design decisions. We are also not used to like letting a team work on something like outside of the community kind of, and making a proposal. there's a lot of new things, and also like the exact proposal that we have, that we are going to make it not Drupal looking theme and all of like
Yeah.
these things. It's like I would like to hear at least something, and we haven't heard anything about that yet.
Yeah, that's right.
We've got plenty of feedback now from like other things, and on the first iteration also we didn't even have all of this figured out at that point, but we had also feedback
Yeah.
related to a lot of other things. But before proceeding, I would like to get feedback on these like very like specific decisions that are like this most important, most fundamental things that we are proposing. Because like let's say if they decide that this has to be a look Drupal, we have to make this Drupal. It's like we have to redo lots of things, because like the farmers market idea won't work. We will have to refigure out how's everything gonna work.
Yeah. Okay.
But I will write a comment of the points that we discussed.
Okay, and it's that week, this week, or when is the next?
Next week is the next one.
Next
but
week. Okay.
That's the US time.
Okay.
And
fine.
next week, we should have the product management's feedback at that point already. So it's right after kind of the product management meeting. Not right after, but like after the product management meeting still. So it's now kind of nicely synced with the product management meeting, so that
Great.
We will have 2 meetings in between.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Then,
thank you for joining. It was helpful to talk about these things, so I can write the comment. That will most likely happen tomorrow or
okay,
late.
don't worry about that.
Yeah.
Don't worry. Maybe for next meetings, it will be, well, if there's more people, it would be great to have an update from the other 2 initiatives.
Yeah.
From the fall content.
Yeah, I agree. I will talk with Kevin if he's able to join next week, because it's maybe on the US time, so he should be able to join.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Then see you next week.
See you next week, and
I hope so.
And let's try to get the issue RTBC during this week. Let's try to avoid bike shedding. Okay. Have a nice day.
Same for you. Bye.
Bye.